These right here are the RayNeo Air 4 Pros. Glasses that let you play games and watch movies on a large virtual screen wherever you are. They connect to a phone, laptop, handheld or PC, and you could somewhat say they are a discreet and portable gadget that you can use at home or take with you on the road. RayNeo actually reached out asking if I wanted to test their glasses, so shout out to them for sponsoring today's video. This is my first time using a product from this company, so it's going to be interesting to see what they have to offer. After a little over a month with them, I have some thoughts to share, so I hope you're ready. And as always, opinions are my own. Before we dive into the actual experience, here's a quick overview of its specs. Starting at $240, the RayNeo Air 4 Pro sits more on the affordable side of the XR glasses market, while still offering features like 120Hz support, HDR10, micro OLED panels, built-in speakers, and AI-powered 3D conversion. Based on their specs, they seem to be a good starter kit for beginners who are interested in this type of tech but don't want to take the full plunge yet. Most importantly, these are not smart glasses nor a headset, but basically a screen you can wear on your face. So comparing them to Ray-Ban Meta displays or Apple Vision Pro would make zero sense, as those sit in a completely different product category and price range. First off, let's start with what's in the box, shall we? We've got the Air 4 Pro glasses in matte black, a USB-C cable, a light blocker, extra nose pads, sound tubes, paperwork, cleaning cloth, and a carrying case. This is what you get when you order the standard version, but as you may have noticed, they've sent me their special Justice Edition in collaboration with DC, which are slightly more expensive and come in an exclusive Batman style, bundled with a batarang holder plus bat cowl lens cover. If you're a huge nerd, it's a pretty cool way to customize your glasses, and there's even a Joker version for those who are a little crazy. Now, unlike a VR headset or full-on AR glasses, there's no battery pack or standalone operating system. The moment you plug them into a compatible device, the image gets projected directly into the lenses using what's called birth bath optics. Basically a fancy prism system that bounces the image around until your eyes perceive it as a giant floating screen sitting in front of you. And honestly, as you expect from these types of frames, the effect works surprisingly well. It is good to be aware of the fact that the Air 4 Pros don't use spatial anchoring, so the screen is glued to your head, instead of staying fixed somewhere in the room. The controls are also pretty simple, by the way. The left side handles volume, the right side adjusts the brightness, and holding the menu button opens extra settings like refresh rate, color modes, and audio presets. That said, here's a list of all devices you can currently plug into the RayNeo Air 4 Pro. Do keep in mind that you may still need additional adapters or docks depending on the setup. Okay, let's talk about the juicy stuff. Watching movies, series, concerts, sports, shorts, and videos is honestly decent. For the price you pay, I'm quite impressed. The display also stays private, so nobody around you can see what you're consuming, making these great for public spaces. At some angles they resemble regular sunglasses, but at others it's more obvious that they're not. The tinted lenses are dark enough for me to focus on content indoors. Outdoors, however, you do notice these are more budget-oriented glasses, since there is no electrochromic dimming to control how much of your surroundings you see. Thankfully, they did include this lens cover that you can slap onto the front. RayNeo claims the Pros give you a virtual 201-inch display, and while it obviously doesn't replace a real TV, the scale does feel impressive when positioned correctly. The 46-degree field of view is immersive enough while still letting you stay aware of your surroundings. Although some of you on the channel probably wished it stretched a little further toward the edges. I will talk more about the IPD in the comfort section of the video, but since the screen size and position are mostly fixed, getting the sharpest image comes down to finding the right fit and sweet spot. Depending on your face shape and the eye spacing, you may also notice the outer edges of the display looking a little softer than the center, which is something I've experienced on quite a few birth bath style glasses. While these are fairly cheap in the rankings of XR glasses, they do support HDR10 and include an AI HDR mode that boosts contrast and highlights in regular content. Combined with the micro OLED panels and up to 1200 nits of brightness, movies can look surprisingly vibrant, with highlights that really pop. Contrast is generally good as well, helping darker scenes look immersive and detailed. Blacks aren't always as deep though, and can sometimes appear slightly gray depending on the content or brightness mode. I know the word AI is highly overrated these days, but this HDR AI mode by RayNeo seems to have potential. Yeah, it improves some scenes, especially content with bright lighting or neon colors. But as I said, some, because it's not perfect across the board. Occasionally I notice that it can look a little overprocessed. I guess this is something RayNeo could likely refine over time by tweaking the software. And for those who don't want this, you can just turn it off. You don't have to use it. They're not forcing you to torture your eyeballs. Don't worry. Anyhow, resolution comes in at 1080p per eye. While higher resolution options are slowly becoming the standard, I never found the Air 4 Pro lacking in sharpness given the price. Content still looks crisp thanks to how close the displays sit to your eyes. For most casual users buying their first glasses, the resolution will be more than good enough. I think it comes as no surprise that the feature I kept coming back to was its 3D mode. As you know, native 3D movies look fantastic on these types of glasses, but RayNeo went a step further by including an AI-powered 2D to 3D conversion system that can add depth to regular content. At times it does look a little artificial, just like the HDR10 mode, but more often than not, it generally makes scenes come to life, so again, it does have potential. Watching movies and videos is definitely the main thing I would use these for, but naturally the next thing is gaming. The idea of pulling a massive virtual screen out of your pocket and plugging it directly into a handheld still feels kind of ridiculous in the best way possible. I tested the Air 4 Pros with my phone, Nintendo Switch 2, PC, and MacBook, and overall the experience was mostly smooth. Devices like the Steam Deck, ROG Ally, and most laptops work right away, but I've also run into devices that require adapters or additional setup to make the magic happen. It's worth noting that a USB-C port alone doesn't guarantee compatibility, as the device still needs to support video output. The glasses themselves support refresh rates up to 120 Hz and have low latency, which definitely helps gaming feel more fluent. The difference is especially noticeable during faster games like my favorite, Rocket League. Although how much you benefit from it really depends on the device and game you're running. I may sound like a broken record by now, but getting the most out of these sometimes depends more on your setup than the glasses themselves. Certain phones lock external displays to 60 Hz, consoles can be limited by adapters as I mentioned before, and I also noticed that getting everything perfectly configured is tricky depending on the cables, docks or settings you're using. This remains one of the biggest challenges for RayNeo and other brands alike as the technology keeps evolving. Before we wrap up this video, I do want to quickly talk about the comfort and audio. At around 76 grams, they're still one of the lightest in the XR scene. The adjustable nose pads do help when trying to find the sweet spot for the sharpest image. And the arms can also snap into different positions like this to help the glass sit better depending on your head shape. As mentioned before, because they use a fixed optical design without actual IPD adjustment, your experience can still vary depending on your eye space, working best between the 56 to 70 mm IPD range. If you normally wear prescription glasses, you'll probably also want to budget for prescription lens inserts, which is an additional cost worth keeping in mind. That said, because most of the weight sits toward the front, because that's where the optics are, I did notice some pressure on my nose during longer sessions. It wasn't uncomfy enough to ruin the experience, but surely something I became more aware of after about 4 hours in. The right side of the glasses can get a bit warm too during extended HDR sessions. And because they are tethered, there are rare occasions where the cable can tug slightly as you're taking them off or pulling them down. This is usually where I say something negative, but the speakers are actually decent for the price you pay. Not replace your headphones decent, but definitely better than expected from something this cheap. Voices sound clear, there's some actual stereo separation, and the tuning from Bang & Olufsen gives it a bit more fullness than the typical tinny smart glasses audio. For watching videos or casual gaming, they honestly get the job done. RayNeo did include optional sound tubes that funnel more audio towards your ears. They help boost the speaker volume and keep the audio a bit more private. I have to be a bit of a party pooper here because I have yet to try frames that nail the bass, and these are sadly no different. So if you really want to fully escape, headphones are still the better option. Okay, so after using the RayNeo Air 4 Pro for over a month, I think these are a solid entry point into the world of XR glasses. They won't deliver the most premium experience on the market, but they also don't try to. I think that's the charm of these wearables. They focus on portability, convenience, and features most people are actually interested in using. At $240, they let you experience private display glasses without taking a huge financial gamble. If you're curious about this genre of wearables and want something that works well for movies, social media, and casual gaming, the Air 4 Pro is easy to recommend as a starter option. If you're interested in the RayNeo Air 4 Pro or the Batman and Joker editions, make sure to check out the links in the description below. Don't forget to drop a comment to let me know what you think of these types of XR glasses. I would love to hear your thoughts on these. And yeah, with that being said, I'm Batman.